Welcome back, book lovers. It's Lady Lauren Explorer. And today I have a series that I have read and I want to tell you guys about it. And it's called Something Like by J Bell. So let's just jump into it. I first want to get out the way, completely. I was given the audio for Keeper of the Night almost like a month ago. And then Beacon Book Box had the Keeper of the Night. So I had already read it. So I listened to it and I totally love Keeper of the Night. I can't wait for the second one because the ending of this it made me feel. It just made me feel. I love the use of the sibling bond in this book. And I love anything set in Japan, in London. So, banger for me. Banger. I just want to get that out the way. So, let's get into Something Like. So, I first heard of this on Etsy. I was looking for some of my Achillean paintings or pictures that I have up on my walls. Love them. And someone showed graphic novels and then I was like, oh, these are nice. Let me just buy them. So I bought both. I was gonna buy one, but then I was just like, well, what if I like the other one? If I like the first one, so I should just buy the second one too, just in case. So I did. So I got the graphic novel, Something Like Summer, volume 1 and Something Like Summer, volume 2. Yeah. So this is Something Like Summer, this is Something Autumn. So this tells a story of Ben, who is getting into his love for Tim, the new boy. And this is so cute. So Something Like Summer is just the epitome of what I really wanted. And then I found out that this was a graphic novel, but then it had a novel format of it, and I was just like, I had to get it. So I did. But let me tell you something. The novel is totally different, somewhat, yeah, than the graphics. Because in Something Like Summer, we don't get. I don't want to. Should I ruin it? No spoilers. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in this graphic novel that doesn't happen in the actual novel. And then when we meet in Something Like Autumn, which is in Something Like Summer, we meet a new character, and this character is with one of our other characters, and we get introduced to that character's other love. And in the novel, we don't get to see this character at all because of what happens in this one. Oh my gosh, I don't want to ruin it. Well, technically, no. Okay, so I'll just go ahead. And Something Like Summer, we get the whole, he is undercover, he has a girlfriend, he knows that he might be gay, but he doesn't want to acknowledge it, especially because it's his family. And he does things to Ben that just makes me want to pop him in the face. Just go ahead. And Ben just keeps going back and going back, and you feel for Ben because yes, you love someone, but love isn't enough to be put up with a lot of stuff that Tim was putting Kim in through. And then finally the nail in the coffin happened, and then they're over. And during the summer, Ben finds Jace, or Jace finds Ben. And Jace is this college kid who is older, out and proud, and it's beautiful how they get together. And something like Autumn, it's Jace and Ben's romance. Then you have Jace's love, Victor, his ex-love, first love, comes into the picture. And then also Tim comes back in the picture. And I think this is like years later or a couple of years later in this graphic novel. But Victor comes and spends some time with Jace and Ben. And then we see a shift. And Jace runs after Victor, and then Ben is just there still. And then he runs into Tim. And that's where it ended. And this is where I was like, oh my gosh, I have to find out. But there hasn't been any other graphic novels, so I can't find out in this graphic novel form what will happen. But I would think, to me, this really feels like a all good things in the end with these two novels. Yes, there's heartbreak in here, but even in the ending of something like Autumn, you could tell it maybe that Jace came in time, and so Victor and Jace were gonna be into each other, and then Ben and Tim heartbreak, but they would be back together, and then it would just be two different love stories. So yeah, the novels, on the other hand, oh my gosh. So I have all the novels that pertain largely to our main couple. There are 12 novels altogether in this series, but once you get past the first three, which these are the first three, then you start going to new couples, and then you get like something like volume 1, and that is little short stories of different couples over time. And then it goes into another new couple, like something like Rain and something like Thunder. Then you go into volume 2, and that's also the new couples with our old couples, just like little bits of stories, so snapshots of their lives. I did read something like Stories Volume 3, which is the actual last book in the series, because of this one thing where it has this picture of Ben, Jace, and Tim. And I'll have it on screen. And it said that what if there's a story that their story was made into a movie. And then also it kind of hinted at all three of them being together. So I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that, because of what happens in the other volumes. The first three, there's some things that happen, and I'm just like, oh, I would love for them all to be together. And then that was cool and all, but it wasn't what I thought it was. And then it also, book 11 tells the story of them, Tim and Ben's story after Jace is gone. And so how this ended isn't how that threesome story begins. It's really, I was just really disconnected from it. So I honestly don't even, you shouldn't read that if you don't want to. It doesn't pertain to them at all. It doesn't give you any real closure like this one is going to. So let me just start off with the novel, okay? So Something Like Summer, this nice novel, is, again, like I said, it's the this graphic novel in a novel form, but it's more in depth, and also it doesn't have a lot of the scenes that are in this novel in this one. We start off with, again, this is Ben and Tim's story, and it ends in their story. Well, not, yeah, it does. It ends in their story. So it's a cry fest because I didn't expect a lot of this heartbreak to happen because I was so used to these very happy-ish endings. This was a time for me, a very hard time for me, actually, because a lot went on, because you have Ben and Tim and their breakup, and then Jace coming in, and then Tim coming back into Ben's life while he's still with Jace. And there's just a whole bunch of like drama that Tim brings. And then we get to the point where like this is like years. So I think it's 9 years of this, like this whole story is told in 9 years. So they're old at the end. And when I mean old, I'm like, I think they're like 30 something in this. And they started off at being like 17, 18, senior year. But yeah, this was a wild ride. And again, I cried a lot. I wasn't expecting a lot of this to happen. And it was very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. But yeah, so this is told in Ben's point of view. Then we have something like Autumn, which is a thicker book because this is told in Jace's point of view. So then we get to see Victor. So this starts off as Jace in his hometown, and you get hints of Jace's story in this one, especially Victor, but it's not in depth. So in this one, we get him and Victor and him finding his first love, and his first love like hurting him a lot, and him going back, and him finally just leaving his hometown, and then meeting Ben because Jace is, in this story, Jace is a flight attendant, and he meets Ben on a plane ride back to Texas, and they just connect. And this story told from his point of view added to like the Victor story and his thoughts while all that drama was going on, and something like Summer, his thoughts on this one, and then his end. Very sad. Like, I don't think I cried when he ended in this one, but I cried when he ended in this one. Mainly because I knew what he was going through. I was in his head as he was dying. That's the caveat to this. Like, this is his end, and it's very sad. But it's true love. Like, this is like a love story. Then we have something like Winter, and something like Winter is Tim's point of view. So it's, again, this is thicker. And this is Tim before he moves to Texas and meets Ben, and then it goes to him and Ben, then the breakup, then what happens during this story, and all of the times that things happen in this where like Ben's gone. I know Tim is gone, and Jace and Ben are living their lives. And so this fills in what Tim was doing during those times, and then also when Jace is gone, him and Ben getting together. I hope that makes sense. Again, I actually didn't cry in this one. It hurt. A lot of it hurt, but it was very nice. And it made me realize that, like, having a triangle of love, I think sometimes I really want to see what the other persons are going through while this is going on. And I'm glad I did, because this was great. I didn't think I needed all 3 books, but I did, because I really wanted to get in their minds. Like, I was trying to figure out why Tim did some of the stuff he was doing. And then I realized, why. It didn't make up for it, but it made me realize, okay, well, yeah, I can see this. Love this. Then this is the 11th book in the series, and this is Something Like Forever, and this is their story as they are getting married to their very end, and it's beautiful. I was crying a lot in this, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So, like, if you don't read any of the other books, you won't know some of the characters. They'll tell you about them in the story, but you won't actually know them in depth unless they tell you. So in this book, Ben and Tim are getting married, and then they adopted a boy who is grown, and him and his boyfriend are with them, and you're starting to see their story as well come together. Then you have other stories that come in that coincide with these people from the different books. And then you have, again, their end. So this is as they go through, there's like some that people get diagnosed with things. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It was so much tears, and I loved it. And I was even surprised when, there is, what got me about this one, because I love drama. I love me some infidelity or temptation. I love that in books, not in real life. But what got me was that, like, this is them growing up, but the synopsis of it was there's temptation that comes into play when it comes to Tim. And is he going to, pluck that temptation and do something while he finally got back together and is married to Ben? And I really want to know. So that's like what brought me to this. But it's so good. So good. I was crying in the middle of it because there's one scene where I was just floored with what was happening. And I'm tearing up now just thinking about that scene, because I would love to talk to my loved one again, and to have that in this book it was so good. It was so good. And then the end was great too, even though I knew that they were gonna go. I wasn't prepared for it, even though I was reading that I was being prepared for it, but it was so good. Oh my gosh, sorry. It was so good. So, these four, if you're ever interested in reading the series and don't want to read the whole 12 books, because you don't need to, just pick up these four, because these four tells the story of the main characters, and you will not be dissatisfied, because it's a beautiful story from teenagers to their end. It's amazing. And I truly love these books. I truly love them. Like, they're so good. So good. I I just can't help this one. Like, this is such a good series. I wish he had like made more. Oh, and then even wait, I have to find it. Because there's one quote in here. Yeah, it's in Something Like Forever. And it says, "Don't mourn this love story. Go out and live one of your own." And I was crying because of the end. When I read that one, I just bawled my eyes out because I was just like, no, oh my gosh, it just made me more. It got me. So yeah, it was amazing. So I definitely think that if you should just read the series. Just these four. Unless you want to go all in and read 12, but just read these four and it will, it's just amazing. So again, it's Something Like Summer, Something Like Autumn, Something Like Winter, and then Something Like Forever. These four books are great. So great. So that is it. That's all I wanted to talk about because I had to get on here. These I actually read the 5 because Something Like Stories Volume 3 I read during, it's November still. So these were what I read while I didn't want to read my November TBR. And I was actually reading while I'm reading this one, and I finished this one, so I will talk about this one in my wrap up. But yes, I had to stop reading that because it was just so large and I needed to pick me up. So I decided to just read these 4. Well, these 3. I had these 3, and then I realized that I was reading this one, and then I was like, oh, wait, I really want to read some more. So I figured out which books I wanted to do, which was Something Like Stories, Volume 3, and Something Like Forever. And then I read Something Like Stories before I read this one. Or did I? No, I read this one. No, yeah, I read Something Like Stories, Volume 3, and then I read this one. Because I really wanted to see the throuple, and I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, but this one again, chef's kiss. So I hope I enticed you guys to read this. Again, it's a Killian, so just keep that in mind. And there will be tears if you're a teary person like I am. There will be tears. I've shed a whole bunch. If you can tell, I just shed some, just remembering some of the stuff that happened in Something Like Forever. But I really do hope you guys will go out and read this. J Bell has got my money. I love this. And I'm also thinking about reading some of his other things, like the Kamikaze Boys. Sounds interesting. So I'll be on the lookout for that one. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I had enticed you to read something like this because it's amazing. And also comment down below if you have read this and what are your thoughts on this. Because I think I gave most of these 4 to 5 stars. Or I just give them all 5 stars. But I digress. I hope you guys to see you in my next videos. series. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and my name is Lady Ward Explorer. You just got informed about a great series, and I'll see you next video. Bye.